This is Dan Dicks here reporting for Press for Truth, and talk about uncertain times, ladies and gentlemen. The U.S. is currently in election limbo as they're currently still counting the votes in the United States, and this seems to have a lot of people scrambling right now to protect their assets as they are perceiving potentially troubling times to come. We've just seen a rather large spike in Bitcoin over the last few days, seeing new highs that it hasn't seen in years. But it's not just the cryptocurrency space. The precious metal space is also making some huge moves in 2020. And that's why I'm very glad to have my guest today, Quinton Hennigh, joining us of Newfound Gold. Newfoundgold.ca is the website. Sir, thank you so much for joining us today to help us understand the ebb and flows of this precious metal space, especially in these crazy times. 2020 has been a tough year for a lot of people, but it's actually been a pretty good year for the precious metal space. So let's just start with this. It seems that silver's been one of the best performing assets in 2020, better than the NASDAQ 100, and gold might be in a close third spot there. So let's start with this. Would you say that we are currently in a bull market in the precious metal space?
Yes, I would agree fully. Look, bulls, a lot of people think bulls are just one big long party. They're never like that. I've been, through many gold cycles now, starting when I was a kid. I lived through the one in the 1970s, the late 1970s, and I saw that one basically reach bubble level in early 1980. In fact, January 1980. And I saw the intervening, 15 years afterwards. Look, there's never a straight trajectory in a bull market. You climb what's called the wall of worry. So a lot of people, they'll argue, oh, well, look, gold fell $100, yesterday, or they'll look at like August. You remember gold spiked and it hit, like 2100, close to it, close enough, we'll say, and now it fell back down to the 1850 level. Well, everybody said, see, it's done. No, it isn't. It's not done. This is how bull markets work. You have to weather through these down periods, but they're usually brief, say a few weeks to maybe a month or two. Mm-hmm. And you catch your breath, and guess what? You're on your way back up. So yes, we are in a bull, I'm happy to say. And I've said this many times, I think this will be the best bull in our lifetime in the precious metal space.
Well, it's an interesting year for this to be happening. What would you say are some of the reasons for these surges in 2020? And is it a sustainable environment?
Look, the big concern right now is the level of emotion that's prevailing amongst, especially here in the United States, amongst people around the election, around the pandemic, around a number of things. Quite frankly, there's been a lot of stress on everyone this year. That tends to translate into, like you said at the beginning, concern about the future, the concern about future wealth or value. Where do you basically hide that? Look, it's not like there's a mass, running towards buying gold bars and sticking them under their mattresses right now. But you do see, I would say, a significant influx of investors into the gold space, whether it's ETFs purchasing physical gold or coming into the gold miners. All right, so we're starting to see that trickle coming in. But if you've ever watched the videos of the tsunami off the coast of Fukushima as it's coming in, you can look out there and you could say, I think there might be something bigger coming. Just hold tight. We're in a bull, and we've probably got, I'll say minimum, bull markets in this precious metal 2 years. Sometimes they last, 8 to 10. Mm-hmm. What's this one? I don't know. But I can tell you the bigger part of this is coming at us from, offshore. We're watching that tidal wave build up right now.
Yeah. Well, what do you think it's going to take for people to realize what's going on? You said, investors are realizing this, but it's not really to the point where people are running out in hordes, hoarding this gold and putting it in a shoebox under their bed or burying it in their backyard or whatever. We're not there yet. I think we should be. Do you think we're going to head there, and what might it take to get there?
Well, actually, I think what you're seeing right now is people hoarding, but they're just, look, a lot of people are not educated about gold space, and especially younger people, I would say, They see more value in tech stocks, in Bitcoin, and stuff like that. Okay, I hate to tell you this, but Bitcoin is nothing but a few electrons stored in a computer chip. Um, hmm, I would rather have some gold. That's just me. But honestly, I think a lot of the technology stocks and a lot of the wealth in that space is, we'll call it ephemeral, I believe would be a good term to use. I think that there's a misallocation of people's views of where they should store their wealth right now. Look, there's clearly concern about having cash. Like, you don't see people going, "Hey, I think I'll leave a bunch of cash in a bank account right now." They're going out and they're going, "Hey, I'm going to grab anything." It's like toilet paper back in March. you know,
Yeah.
they're just irrational. I'm going to grab some of this and some of that and just throw it in the cart and go. That's where people are at investing wise right now. They're just grabbing Bitcoin and grabbing this. And when they start grabbing gold and they start realizing the value here, I hope it's a little bit saner. I don't like stupid money, but the gold space is small. As soon as you see the general masses coming our way, like I said, that's that tidal wave coming in from offshore. It's coming.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, it's exciting times, and I know that is coming soon. And you've actually had some huge successes in the mining space in particular. A lot of people are not necessarily flooding into gold right now where they should be, but as you said, not necessarily the precious metals, but maybe the mining stocks and things like that. So, what kind of advice might you have for successes in that space when it comes to the mining industry?
Look, there's different tiers in the mining industry. If you want a sure bet, but probably with limited upside, you can invest in the producers. Newmont, I would consider Newmont better than Barrick, but that's my personal bias. Look, invest in those companies: Newmont, Barrick, Agnico, Kirkland. They're all good producers. Have good margins right now. They're seeing increased free cash flow. They've cleaned up their balance sheets. They're all good bets. Okay, those are actually more sound than almost any of the tech companies if you do a one-for-one comparison. Okay, so if you want a safe bet in the big miners or even mid-tier miners, fine. If you want upside, though, you got to invest in the juniors. Juniors are really doing the hard work now of exploration effectively for the entire industry. Okay, so what I mean by that is 30 years ago, big companies used to explore. They used to grow organically. They would go out, they would spend money on exploration, they would find deposits, develop them themselves, grow the company. That's not the case anymore. Most big producers do not explore. They've abdicated the role of exploration to the junior sector. So now we have junior companies which are really tasked with going out and making the new generation of discoveries. But what's the upside? Well, the big companies are going to have to pay up if they want those assets. Once the junior companies make discovery, they're going to have to pay up. And I think they'll have to pay up at a premium, unlike anything that's been seen before. I think that in the next 2 or 3 years, as metal prices rise and these big companies wake up and they realize, maybe we better start looking at M&A, it's going to be too late for them. The prices are going to be high. Okay, they're going to have to pay up. You want upside? Find high quality explorers. And look at, I'm fortunate to be associated with a number of very high quality explorers, including Newfound Gold.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to talk about next. You've actually invested quite a rather large stake in Newfound Gold, so I wanted to get into that. Why did you do that?
Well, look, the discovery to me geologically is one of these very, very unique deposits that can generate an incredible high grade discovery. I was very fortunate to witness the early discovery and then help make further discovery at the Fosterville mine, which is in Victoria in Australia. Fosterville for many years was a low grade deposit, difficult to make money. In fact, I think it was losing money most of its operational life. Then along comes a few drill holes that hit some high grade in late 2015. I got to see some of those early holes, and I was fortunate, like I said, to actually be part of that phase of discovery. What we found there, what was found at Fosterville, is what you call an epizonal orogenic system. Big collection of words. What does it mean? Epizonal means shallow, basically, and then orogenic means gold deposits that form accompanying mountain building processes. Okay, so it's big words, but that's basically what it is. So these are shallow deposits that form in a relatively high level in Earth's crust during collisional plate tectonics. Okay, so look, what's unusual about them is that usually when you build mountains, they erode away, and all of that stuff is stripped off. You don't preserve them. So these epizonal deposits are scarce as hen's teeth. Okay, finding these doggone things is unusual. Nonetheless, in January of this year, a couple of the directors from Newfound said, "Hey, you know something about Fosterville?" I said, "Yes." And they said, "Well, look at these core photos." This is when the company was private, obviously. And I looked and I said, "My gosh, I think you've got an identical deposit to Fosterville. Basically, you found one of these hidden gems in Newfoundland." Okay. And in fact, I was so excited. We hopped on a plane virtually the next day. We flew up there. And then within probably 4 or 5 weeks, I had negotiated buying 15 million shares of the private company in exchange for Noble shares. So, I'm chairman of Noble. So I recognize the opportunity. I see it as an investment, but I also see it as, a potential toehold on things. I mean, that's finding an exciting discovery like that is what creates value. Like I just said, okay, something of this ilk, especially the grades they're seeing, my gosh, the first hole, 19 meters and 93 grams. And then just the other day, we announced another hole, like 41 meters of 22 grams. You don't see drill intercepts like that very often, especially early stage.
Wow.
This is an incredible discovery.
Yeah, that's why it's doing so well. I mean, as I understand it, since their IPO, shares are up 100% already. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about the company, the plans moving forward. What are the shareholders' base, and what do you think the potential is here?
Yeah, look, you're incorrect. Sorry, I got to correct you. The shares are up actually well over 200% now. Okay, it came out. It was funny because the IPO came out the day that gold fell, I think, $150 in one day. It was just back in August, I believe, sometime mid-August. So it didn't come out of the gate at a super high price. I think it closed around $1.30 that day or something. Okay, right now this stock is trading over $4 if I checked recently, I think this morning. All right, so that's well over a threefold increase here. Now, okay, this is where, people can debate. I mean, this company is on the Lassonde curve. It's still down here at the bottom, in my view. Okay, Lassonde curve being the value that's created through exploration, and what these companies will end up seeing. Okay, so the Lassonde curve basically goes asymptotic as the speculation around the discovery increases. Okay, so the bigger the discovery and the better the results, obviously the more speculation and excitement that can be created. I think we're just beginning. The guys just started drilling a 100,000 meter program a couple months ago. We've only released, I think, I don't know, 6 or 8 holes or something like that. Not many, whatever it is. Okay, we've got about a bazillion holes left, and I think we're on the bottom part of the curve. Okay, so what's this thing worth? I think a lot more than it is today. And like I said earlier, one of these discoveries is the kind of story that can generate a huge amount of value. Okay, high-grade gold discovery in a market that is very hungry for new high-grade gold stories is going to be worth a lot of money.
Now, I know you don't have any kind of a crystal ball or anything like that, but what would you say are your targets for gold prices and silver prices moving forward?
Lord, yes, I get this question a lot. It's not an easy one to answer, especially for a geologist. But here's my view. I think that we are in the bull. I will maintain that. I think you'll see it gyrate quite a bit. So when I say prices, people are going to say, look, I think if I had to smooth out the curve and, look in the crystal ball, smooth out the curve over the next 2 to 5 to 10 years, I would say in 2 years' time, I wouldn't be surprised if gold kind of trades in the $2,500 to $3,000 range. I would say in 5 years, it'll probably be north of that, probably $3,000 to $5,000. And look, I mean, that is if people can temper their anxieties and we don't go to civil unrest here. But, after that, look, I think 10 years out, I think between now and 10 years out, we're going to have to see some sort of fiscal reset, unfortunately. So, that's where I have trouble. It's like people say, well, what do you think the gold price is going to be? You know what? I could give a rat's butt about dollars. Okay. Every chance I get, I take any paper cash I have and buy gold, because that paper cash isn't going to be worth anything. It's really not a question of how much, how much gold is worth. Gold still weighs an ounce. An ounce of gold still weighs an ounce. It's a matter of how much that paper's worth. That's what you got to be worried about.
Yeah, true. And you mentioned the coming potential civil unrest, and it gets really hard to predict where things are going to go when we're in the middle of this, as I call it, the COVID 1984 nightmare. So, I mean, considering that things are so uncertain, do you think this COVID situation may affect gold moving forward if things continue to get bad?
Yes. There is an expression that gold is the emotional metal. Okay. That holds true, especially when you see a lot of anxiety like right now. And that's why I say over the next few years, there's going to be a lot of gyrations. Okay. When I give those forecasts and stuff, there's going to be a lot of this involved. All right. But yes, gold will be tied to the overall emotional sentiment of civilization over the next few years. And it's concerning that, look, when people are well educated and rational, you have civilization. When you have mob rule, which is dictated by poorly educated people, and I'm sorry, but our education system has absolutely failed, perhaps intentionally, and you have those people acting irrationally, it doesn't lead to good consequences. Okay, so God help us all.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think education is going to be key moving forward. People need to know about these things, especially moving into 2021 with all the craziness that's coming around. So if they actually want to maybe learn from you or find out how they can invest or learn more from you guys and get educated on this stuff, where should they go?
On gold or on gold mining?
Both. I mean, I know my audience is very interested in the precious metal space, both physical, tangible metals you can hold in your hand and mining stocks as well.
Well, look, I mean, there's a large number of sources out there to turn to. I work with a couple gentlemen here in Denver with Crescat Capital, CRESCAT Capital, and they're some of the best macro economists you'll ever meet. If you look at, if you watch some of their presentations and look at the thought and the graphics they give, the charts that really illustrate their points, I think they're fantastic. So there's one source. Look, and then you have other sources, like you got letter writers. I think Bob Moriarty's website has a lot of good sources linked on it. Look, there's innumerable sources out there. I could talk about zero hedge and this and that, but most everybody knows those already. Those would be my recommendation. Is there a single, premier source that one must look at? No, I think there's a number of sources. But again, the best ones to look at are the ones that are the most rational and best educated. Look at people, or follow the people who are smart, who have a vision, a forward vision, and can convey that. They're well educated.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I'm speaking to you today. So I want to encourage people to check out the site. The links will be located in the description below. Newfoundgold.ca is the site. Thanks so much for talking to us today, sir.
Thank you, Dan. Take care.
We all want truth. The truth will set you free.